Also, another thing we do is that from the Remind Pro, what we do, we take lead from Remind Pro, different things, and then upload that to Espresso Agent. Okay. Also, the Espresso Agent has the likely to sell. So click the likely to sell, build a list, the neighborhood list, and then we go from there.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Grounds for Success with Espresso Agent, where we give you the tools to become the neighborhood expert. And today, you're not seeing double, there's not two Shawnas. There is Shawn Bhakta, who is in South Florida. He owns two brokerages and a team, I think. So I would love to get some information from him on how he does all that without pulling his hair out. And, so without further ado, I would love to introduce you. Shawn, please give us a little bit of information about yourself and what your team is, your history, all that.
So real quickly, that as a real estate agent, I started my real estate in beginning of 2000. So this is the 25th year as a realtor.
Congrats.
We have two offices here in Miami-Dade and Broward County, Florida. That is southeast Florida. It's Miami and Fort Lauderdale area. My wife, she's the broker, and I always love sales, prospecting. So I started building my team because of Tom Ferry, who was very inspiring. And then in 2012, but I joined the coaching as an elite client in 2015, and got ton of knowledge. Not only the knowledge, the guidance. The number one thing I got from the coaching is the opening of the vision. Because as a real estate agent, we only think about the transaction, client, and all the stuff. But
Yes.
it's kind of opening up the vision, like the uh, breaking the limiting belief, and get to the goal we all want to, or the life we want to. So that was kind of my journey, and then I became a coach a few years back. My coach recommended to me to become a coach. So with Tom Ferry, that was a great honor, and I'm enjoying it. I have many successful coaching clients, and I love it.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so you talked about, building a business, you have two brokerages. So when building a business, what do you think? I mean, you have, I know we talked briefly, but you said you have, I think, an ISA, you have a team of like 22 people. You have people in place in your business, in your team. Tell me a little bit about like some of the lessons that you've learned building your team out. How did you get to where your structure is now? And I know the golden question is going to be, if somebody else is looking to hire an ISA, what would you recommend? So all the things, just offload it for us.
Perfect. So number one thing, I'll tell you my mistake. So the very first team member I had a part-time admin that time from the office, and the very first or two team member I got was the agent, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because when we building a team, the most important thing is building the core five. What I say, that's the SEAL team. Like that's
Yeah.
you
That's
yourself.
what I have. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the admin,
Mhm.
marketing, what most of the time we overlook that, and
Yeah.
then two agents, like a buyer's agent who will do stuff outside, so you have more time for the consultation,
Yeah.
listing appointment, buyer consultation, and conversation, and that should be like my since 2012 to 2014, my team building experience, I can tell you that that's the way it should be. Now, another thing also, the next will be the building the core team first, because if your
Mhm.
core is not strong, then agent will come and go, a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So
It's like a foundation in a house. You have to have the foundation really good or the structure is going to fall.
exactly. And
Yeah.
then right now, who we have after me, I have a team manager, then
Okay.
we have a team supervisor, then we have a transaction coordinator, and also we have a supervisor for the pipeline, because that is so
Oh,
important. We
I
calling through.
love that.
Yeah, we calling through Espresso Agent. We have all the prime, we say prime pipeline, the top lead, and then that they fall apart because lack of follow-ups. That's the
Yes.
biggest trouble we have in our
Yes.
industry.
Yes.
So make sure that your core team is understand each other, know each other's vision, where we get going to, and that's the way. So nothing will fall through the crack. So that
Yeah.
will be my advice. Build that core team.
I love that. So for someone who's building, because I've built a big team out to like 13 agents and I wanted to pull my hair out because I didn't have the foundation. I had the right people in some of the positions, but I didn't have enough people in positions that I needed. So somebody who's building out their team right now, or thinking about possibly building out their team, where would they go to find this type of person and what would be their responsibility?
So one of the thing I'll tell you that is, give them certain things and see. It's not about what they promise or what you want to get done.
Mhm.
See what they're doing. Like one thing Tom Ferry say also, like watch their behavior, watch your
Yeah.
behavior, because, and
Yeah.
as a team leader, our goal is to put them in the right place.
Yes.
So it happened many times. I'm like, this person is not good for the team, but then when I analyze that with my manager, I see that no, they're perfect fit for the other position.
Yes.
So that is very important. The other thing is
Yeah.
also what we all made mistake, we don't let go enough. You
No.
have to give them
You
responsibility.
know, real estate agents are all control freaks.
I know,
We're
yes,
all
yes.
very controlling people.
And
Yeah.
then we have 100,000 excuse that why, why
Yeah.
we should control that.
Yes.
So
But Sean, but yeah, all the time. I'm the
yes,
same. Yeah. It's a
yes.
hard lesson to learn. Yeah.
Right. So one thing is got to give them a responsibility. So one of the thing, I forgot the name, I got from one of the entrepreneur, is there's a 10, 80, and 10 rule. So what happens whenever we're doing a new project, you got to be involved 10% first, because
Okay.
start the project, be there
Hmm.
like a first 1, 2, 3 weeks, like
Yeah.
make sure that is done right, the process is set.
Uh
Then
huh.
80% will be done by your team, and then the last 10% is the quality control check. So that's the way you're 80% out of the, all the tasks
Yeah.
you have, and then
Hmm.
and you have more time to grow.
Yeah. I love that because if you're always working in your business, you can't work on your business, and that's the problem that I think a lot of agents do. I know I did for a long time. I
Right.
still do to a fault, just because again, like I'm still very much in production, and I do have a SEAL team, but all the decisions get made by me. But I'm very quick to make decisions, which brings me to that next point: is that you made a very valid point, which is very important. Is that sometimes when you bring people on your team, it's not that they're not a good team member; it's that maybe they're not in the right positions. So,
Right.
like even when we interview for people to bring on our team, one time we interviewed someone for an assistant position, and then we found out, wait a second, like she has all this background in marketing and social media and all this. And I said, would you be open to just pivoting? I wasn't even hiring a marketing person, but we ended up hiring her, and ended up being great. And she was great in that role. So I think it is really important to see what people's strong suits are and what their how they operate and how they are, and then pick out a space for them in your business.
Yes, yes, yes.
So if somebody wants to bring on somebody who is, the not the team lead, because it would be you, but like the person who assists you, the team manager or whatever it is that you call it, where do you find those type of people?
So you find two places. Okay, first of all, you find inside your team. For example, like so my
Hire
team
within.
manager, yeah, like so I'm going to give it, my team manager is the best one ever. Like I hired admin, and so she originally joined as a transaction coordinator,
Hmm.
and I can tell you, like, she was probably 60% good on that, 40% not. But then I checked that, I checked her history, what she did before. She
Yeah.
used to have businesses, and she let go those businesses because she need more time for the family. So that's a good reason to let go the business. Okay, so
Yeah.
so it's not like she failed.
It wasn't that she wasn't successful. Yeah.
Exactly. And because she had, just to make like a UPS store, like a few of them, but then, that's like a hands-on hand work. But,
Yes.
she had kids, and so,
Very
okay, so
stressful. You wear a lot of hats. Yeah.
you wear a lot of hats. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then I see, and then I discuss with her. I said, look, Barbara, I see that you are more like an ops manager. What do you think about that? So I left it on her, like, and then after talking, and then, and then I found the best team, manager ever. She's in line with the vision. Where are we
Mhm.
going in 5 years, 2 years, and we work together. So that's
Yeah.
what you find. And secondly, whoever in your, like, your title company, your lender, you let them know who you're looking for,
Yeah. Your vendor partners. Yeah.
vendor partner, because
Yes.
you really don't know who is until they're 2 to 3 months in your team,
Mhm.
because you got to watch their
Yeah.
behavior again. That is like, sometimes we lack, we blame them, or we don't, we don't focus on their behavior. We take their
Yeah.
promises, and so that is important.
Yeah, I love that advice. So you said you have an ISA. So what is your ISA responsible for? Because you have a supervisor that supervises the pipeline, which I think is genius. That's not the ISA, right? That's somebody separate.
Yeah,
So
somebody
the
said.
ISA is making the calls. They're the ones prospecting. Kind of
Yes.
walk me through what that looks like, and then kind of walk me through the supervisor position.
So we have a dedicated ISA for the seller lead, and we have dedicated ISA for the buyer leads.
Oh,
So
okay.
so inbound lead is fine. So you teach them LP Mama, and then they do the
Hmm.
basic. Now we have to understand that ISA is sitting in another country. They have good work ethic and so, but they have limited knowledge about what's going on here, okay, or
Yes.
the real estate. So,
Yes.
and that is fine, because as long as we give them the task what they're good at, okay, not expecting so much about changing market or whatever,
Yeah.
so buyer side, LP Mama. Now seller side, what happens here, because in Florida, I think many other state also, like, you cannot solicit a listing unless you have a license, okay.
Correct.
So
That's
what
how it is
we
in Texas too. Yeah.
exactly, so you doing that, and then what happened, when somebody is interested, immediately that goes to the agent,
Okay.
okay, or our local ISA, and then they take it from there. So we have a WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
where
So you
we,
communicate through WhatsApp.
yeah, WhatsApp, and of
Okay.
course we tag they tag on the CRM also. So but sometimes the email can get lost, or not lost, like get delayed in the inbox, and so
Yeah.
if something urgent, they immediately let in the WhatsApp group. So we have a group for the ISS, we have group for the tracking, we have a group for the agent, we have multiple groups. So whenever something urgent happening, someone will see that immediately within a second, because if there's a 10 people in the group, someone is always looking at it. So and then
Yes.
we can take
Yes.
care of that right away.
Right away. Yeah. Because we all know that it's speed to lead in our business. And if you wait a day or two, that person is now gone. So speaking of leads, because you are generating, you have an ISA that's setting the appointments and stuff. What are some of the lead sources that you focus on and that you and your team are very successful with?
So expired, circle
Mhm.
dialing we do. Also another thing we do is that from the Remind Pro, what we do, we take lead from Remind Pro, different things, and then upload that to Espresso Agent, okay. Also the Espresso Agent has the likely to sell. So click the likely to sell,
Yes.
build a list, the neighborhood
Yeah.
list, and then we go from there. What we do, in our farm area, we pick all and every homes, but then
Hmm.
when it's a little bit further, far from the office, we only pick up single family homes, because as you know, the condo markets is not doing that good right now. So
Yeah.
why to waste time? Yeah.
Yeah.
We call absentee owners, because they are
Yep.
the best one to approach.
And they usually own portfolios of properties.
Exactly, and also they're sitting somewhere else. So when you calling from, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, somebody sitting in Texas, Frisco,
Yes.
Texas, they're so receptive. They say, like, and our approach is like, be your resource. Anything you need, is your tenant paying
Mhm.
on time, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's. I'll mention another thing also on the cold calling. My coach, and I want to, my coach, Mr. Rick Cheever. One of the greatest thing he taught me is, whenever you're on the cold call, because the cold call itself is a scary word. A lot
Hmm.
of agents, they don't do cold call because, oh my god,
Yeah.
cold call,
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
to bother somebody and all the stuff,
Yeah.
okay. So what he says, is called, make it as a discovery call. means
Mm.
means you calling them, and you want to know about them. It's
Hmm.
nothing about the sale. Just to do that, we having
Yep.
better conversations.
That's very interesting you say that because I just was on a podcast talking to somebody and I said, you have to change the conversation because these people, these lead sources like because that's also a very big lead source for me when I was building my business was expireds and for sale by owners. They're getting bombarded with calls from all these different agents and you can tell they're all reading from a script. Are you going to resell your house? Like you could tell. So if you, whenever you call them, if
Yeah.
you just have a different energy and a different conversation,
Yes.
that's where the magic happens because then they'll get less defensive and they're like, okay, this person's actually talking to me. It sounds like they actually care. They're actually asking me questions about my property, about what it was like when we had it listed. Do we have any offers? Like, are we going to be putting the house back on the market? And when are we going to be interviewing agents to do that? Like
Right.
for sale by owners, I would always call and talk to them and I would ask them questions about their property. Like if I was on the listing appointment, oh, well, how old's the roof? How old's the HVAC? Like, have you done any updates to the property since you purchased it? Anything to bedrooms or to bathrooms and kitchens? Those things bring a lot more value.
yeah,
And then I would say, out of curiosity, how long do you think that you'll try to sell it on your own before you enlist the help of a real estate agent if it doesn't get sold? And
right.
they'll say, oh, a lot of times it's like 30 days, or they'll say 60 days. And you say, okay, great. When that time comes, I would love the opportunity to interview for the job.
Yes,
Like, I just tell them up front. That's what I'm calling them about. But I will stay in touch with them and give
yes,
them value. I never call and say, I'm just following up. I always give value, because when you
right.
give value and without the expectation of getting something back, you'll get people to open up, and you'll get people who want to actually work with you and use you.
Yeah, and that's such a great advice, Shauna. Like, a lot of time realtors, they don't, they get either scared, or that they go
Mhm.
to direct sale. It's a relationship business. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's a relationship. So one of the thing also we do, many times when we call, like if it's a circle dialing, or close to the
Mhm.
office, or wherever somebody live, like, hey neighbor. So we start with hey neighbor,
Okay.
and then we talk about, so yeah, how can I
Yeah.
help you? And then, whatever message you want to give, and that gets more conversations.
So I love that you're saying, "Hey, neighbor," and then you're
Yeah,
saying something, and then maybe allowing them to talk too.
correct.
Um, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Asking the right questions will get you very far. Yeah.
Always open-ended questions, let
Yeah.
them talk, another thing also,
Yes.
when I was in the coaching, as a coaching client, my coach said that let them sweat. Why you going to
Yes.
sweat? When you're on the cold call on the phone, ask open-ended question,
Yes.
let them sweat, and I love that,
Yes.
those analogies.
Yes. I agree. I agree 100%. So circle dialing, you and your team do that and very like consistently, you're very successful with it. Are
Yes.
you doing that around all your listings? Are you doing that looking for buyers, or like what are you circle dialing around?
So each team member, they call their neighborhood. So why?
Okay.
Because one of the thing is, you calling, and then also they do pop by. That it's
Yeah.
all about, adding,
Recognition.
yeah, recognition, adding more action to particular lead source. Okay, because
Yeah.
another mistake also we do as an agent, like we add lead source, lead source, lead source, and we spread
Mhm.
so thin. uh, you
Yes.
know so we rather have like a finger counting lead sources, and then game up on the multiple touches.
Yes. I
So
100% agree with you. Yeah.
yes, so we
And it's
do.
not about going it's not about getting more lead sources, it's about going deeper with the lead sources that are already working for you. I preach this from my soapbox every day, all the time. People like they think they have to have 10 lead sources. Like, no, if you just have 3 or 4 really good ones
Yeah.
and master those and become really good at them, then when you can add an extra lead source, then at that point, think about it, right? Like, I know
Yes.
people who come on my team and they're like, well, I want to start doing mail outs. And I'm like, the
Yes.
time, the cost, and the amount of time it's going to take you to actually get any return from that is pretty far. They say 2 years. I'm like, that would be the last. In fact, I don't do mail outs, so that's like the last thing I would probably pick as a lead source.
I am so, what, I'm so agreed with you, and I flip the process. You know what we do? You're going to do cold call first, like, use the system like Espresso
Mhm.
Agent,
Uh-huh.
do the call, and whoever talk to you, then you send them the mail.
Yes. Yes. But don't just cold send it.
No, then
Yeah,
send
I
them
agree. They need to be
quarterly
at least
CMA.
warm. Yeah.
Yeah, then you send them, and then you give, say, hey, I'm, what I do for someone, like say, suppose I'm cold calling. Okay, hey neighbor. Oh yeah, who's that? Oh, this Shawn. I live in the area, and I was calling you, whatever. Like, then we say either open house invitation or whatever, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
before I finish the call, it's like, hey, also, what I do for favorite people, like someone like you. I send them like on a quarterly basis, like a quick value report of what's going on in the
Mhm.
market. Is there something like you're going to look forward to? Of course,
Yeah.
they're going to say, yeah, yeah, send it to me, no problem. But
Yeah.
then I need
Yeah.
their email address also. So what I say,
Yeah.
like, another thing also I'm going to do for you. I'm going to also email you those information so you can check the details of the property, photos and all the stuff. So,
Yeah.
let me get your. I'm not going to ask like, can I have your email, because that's a
So
wrong
you have
question.
their phone number and then you get their email address. Like, you pretty much have all the information that you need from
Exactly.
there to have it in your, yep.
And I'm not going to ask the permission, can I have your email? So answer sometimes would be no. I say, let me have your email. Is that a Gmail or Yahoo? Yes
Yeah.
or yes? Is it? And then
Yes.
most of the
Yeah.
time
Yes
it's
or
like,
yes.
yeah, it's a
I love
Gmail.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so go. Okay, so let me start. Okay, your name is John. Is that start with John? No, no, no. It start with this. Okay, good. And I got the
Yeah.
email. I got the address. I got the phone number, name. I got all four contact. Hey.
Well, I think it's funny is if you see somebody's name and that's like John Smith, right? And then you say, do you go by John? Actually, my friends call me Johnny. Okay, great, Johnny. We're friends.
You
I'm
see?
calling you Johnny. Like, and then you're just building rapport, right? You're just breaking down because everybody has a defense up because they're like, oh, I got another phone call from somebody else. And I think if you just go into it without having the expectation of you're trying to call to get a deal from it and more like providing value. I
Yes.
mean, I've gotten referrals from people who I talked to their friend. They didn't end up doing anything with me or they didn't end up moving forward, but they referred me to other people they knew just because they knew that I was having a different conversation and they knew that I was different than the other agents that they had heard from.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And like we have to just step back from the sales and more do more
Mhm.
relationship, focus on more
Yeah.
relationship, and that's what the key is. One little thing I want to add also, the when we talk about the different lead sources. First, of course, I agree with you. Go with the sweat equity, okay? Like,
Mhm.
and then also
Yep.
go with your strength. Somebody is
Yep.
getting super success on Instagram doesn't mean that that's your strength. Your strength
Right.
may be shaking hand,
Yep.
meeting people. Do that,
Yep.
and
Yep.
game up on that. Like the way I read the book, 10x is easier than 2x. So go 10x on those.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So I think in any type of business, especially when you're in sales, it's all about relationships. And I think the people that this year was a hard year for a lot of agents. I mean, you and I both know the stats. Like over half of the agents who are licensed in North America have not transacted in the
Yeah,
last 12 months, which is scary. So there's a lot of licensed agents. And I talk to agents every single day, multiple times throughout the day, and I keep hearing the same things over and over. On the agents that are doing well, it's because they've built the relationships with these people. And so they're getting the referral business, the repeat referral business, the repeat business, like all of that, just because they built that initial relationship.
exactly, exactly.
So if you're looking for a lead source, it's going to be, if you're looking for a transactional based business, that's great in great markets. But when the markets are not great, like it has been for the last 2 years, I mean, it's been a huge shift. Less agents are taking on the biggest part of the market share, and that's going to continue being that way. So people who actually take the time to build relationships and run their business like a business are going to go far than way better than the people who are not.
Yeah, see, think about what happened in 2010, because either you getting from the foreclosure bank, like
Mhm.
many of them, 95% of the agents or more
Yep.
didn't have that connection, or 99%. But then you get more business, the short
Mhm.
sale, from the people
Yep.
the people
Yeah.
you served for years, and then they come to,
Yep.
hey, I need your help with the short sale, and then uh, you know we are doing a lot of business. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing, is the relationship.
And by the way, my sister is buying a house, or by the way, my best friend is looking to relocate here. Or,
Yes.
I mean, like one person could give you enough business for the rest of your life if you really do it right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Sweat
I said,
equity.
yeah, I said that the goose give the golden egg. You need to have enough. Like even if you have like 100 of them, that's a strong business.
Yes, yes. And if you're not doing stuff with your past clients in your sphere and stuff people in your database you've already done business with, like you need to bite the bullet, let them know you dropped the ball. Like I did that recently, went back and I started reaching out to everybody saying, hey, I know it's been a really long time. I completely, it's my fault. I dropped the ball. How are things going? Are you still loving your house? And then, I might find out that they sold their house and they didn't use me. And guess what? I didn't deserve the business because I lost touch with them. So I
Yes.
love it that you have somebody that is a supervisor of the pipeline because that happens to our pipeline too. And if
Yeah,
you and I both know that if you build your pipeline consistently, you'll always have business.
exactly,
But
exactly.
the magic is in the consistency. And
Yes,
also there's nothing happening in the comfort zone. So if you're doing something like if cold calling is completely outside of your comfort zone, it's only going to be outside of your comfort zone until you do it consistently and then you'll get really good.
exactly. And then that whenever we start something, somebody says, suppose not doing cold calling, and then start, you will fail. You'll fail at the
Oh,
beginning.
you will suck. I tell people you will suck at the beginning, embrace the suck.
Exactly, and then
It can only get
you
better from there.
exactly, and then you just correct it. Don't change your prospecting. Change the way you are doing it, and then
Yes.
here's the success comes.
Yes. So I had heard Tom Ferry say one time, when you have goals and you're not achieving them, you either have to adjust your goals to meet you where you're at, or you have to increase what you're doing to be able to reach your goals. And I thought, oh, that's very interesting. And it's true. You either need to do the activities and the behaviors that's going to get you to your goals, or you're going to have to reduce your goals or revise them down. And I don't want to do that. Like, I mean, if it's all about just putting forth effort, like that's all it takes is putting forth effort and being consistent.
Exactly, and if you remember from the last the summit, what Tom says, that that out of 4 transaction from the database, we lose 3. So
Yep.
just taking that data, we know that we are losing more than gaining. So now if we can game up,
Yeah.
those holes, that's the reason I have that supervisor for the prime lead. Her
Yes.
job, nothing else. I
Hmm.
say anything we get appointment, or anything like somebody give a confirmation that they want to sell or buy, certain day,
Yeah.
that's in your part, like, so,
Yeah.
and she's doing
Yeah.
that very good.
I love that. Yeah. Well, we're running out of time. I could keep talking to you forever. This is the first time I've ever met you, and I'm like, okay, I'm just eating up everything you're saying. You're speaking my language. I love it. Sounds like you have an amazing business. If anybody wants to reach out to you directly and get information or talk to you, how would they do that?
So there's two way they can email me at Shawn, my name SHAWN, at homefindhelp.com, like a home, finding help, HELP.com. So Shawn at homefindhelp.com, or I'll give my direct cell phone number, what is not on the anywhere on the web. And so but for here, for this audience here,
Yeah.
it's 954-494-5672. Send me a text message. I always call back, because sometimes
I'm telling
I'm
you right now,
able
you're
to.
going to be getting calls because I do that. And then I get calls and they're like, I saw your video on Espresso Agent. And I'm like, oh, hey, hi. Yeah, they will
That's
call for sure.
that's fine, because somebody watching these, like, they definitely want to grow their business, and I like that mindset, and we are here to help. Shauna, like,
That's right.
you are here with this ecosystem for so long, with Tom
Yeah.
Ferry, and doing
We all know we're better together and we're not reinventing the wheel. So it's about meeting with great people like yourself who have done it well,
yeah,
made mistakes, have learned from them, and teaching other people how to do what you do
yes,
without having to go through all the heartache and the mistakes. And I love
ex-
that.
exactly,
And if
exactly.
you are an agent who's looking to get more business, especially specifically listing business, then definitely check out listingleads.com with Jimmy Mackin.
Yes,
If you use the code Espresso, you get 50% off your first month cost, which is about it's $100 a month, $99 a month, so you get about half off. And I will tell you, I'm using it every single day in my business. I actually have 2 come list me calls just from a response to an email that I sent from that campaign that he posted in listingleads.com. So definitely check it out if you're looking to get more listing business. And as always, happy prospecting.